What is going on, you guys? I think my name is Ian, and today I'm going to show you how I took this old guitar from this to this. So check it out. Alright, so before anybody asks, this guitar was not salvageable or could ever be played again. My neighbor was throwing it away and it looked like it had been sitting outside in the heat for a few years. The wood was cracked and warped and the finish was flaking off. I wanted to cut open the face of it but still leave a little bit of a lip. To get an even line all the way around, I just fold a small piece of cardboard over the edge and use that as my guide to mark all the way around. Once marked, I got out my multi-tool and began carefully using mostly just the corner of the blade to start tracing out my line. A jigsaw would also work well here, but I don't have one, so this worked out as well. I removed it out in pieces as I wanted to be really careful since this wood was very thin and brittle. With the pieces removed, I clipped off the guitar strings that were still left on. The bottom front edge of the guitar had been banged up really bad and pieces of material had chipped off. This made that part of the lip really weak and it wanted to break off at any point. I used a few scraps I'd cut out and then super glued them on the inside of the corner to reinforce it again. I found a few other weak areas and repeated the same process. Once that dried, I came back and trimmed off the backing supports that I added to make them flush with my cutout. The edge that I cut came out fairly clean, and then I ran over my sander attachment, which really cleaned them up even more. I used some wood putty along the bottom where it had chipped. We're not going to get it perfect, but this really improved it. Then it was on to sanding. I didn't like the unevenness I was getting by using my sander attachment because the guitar has so many curves, so I ended up just sanding the rest by hand. After a good wipe down after sanding, it was time to apply the stain. This was the same stain I used on my front porch project. I had some left over and the color turned out great. If you missed that video, the link will be in the description. While I was doing the initial sanding, I really liked the matte look that the wood was getting. So once the stain had dried, I went over the whole thing with matte clear spray to seal it. And once that dried, I masked the outside edge in preparation for painting the inside. contrast the dark matte wood on the outside, I went with a gloss white for the inside. Then remove the tape once that had dried. For the shelves, I really had no exact plans. For one, I didn't know what the inside was going to look like on the guitar until I opened it up. I was pleasantly surprised after cutting it open to see that the back of the guitar had 3 ribs running parallel with each other along the back. And these will be perfect edges for attaching my shelves. I bought 2 4-inch by 2-foot craft boards and then began measuring and marking those on where I wanted to cut them. Since these boards were so thin, I was able to do all the cutting with my multi-tool without having to bring out the circular saw. There was a lot of trial and error here, getting things the right length as well as getting them inside the guitar body. I even ended up notching off the corners of the shells for maneuverability inside this guitar. This was done for function, but I end up actually liking the look. With all my shelves roughly fitted, I stained them to match the outside of the guitar. After drying, I began attaching them with super glue. I try to utilize clamps, but it ended up working best just holding them in place. This super glue dries in about 40 seconds, which worked out really well. I did use a few scrap pieces as temporary wedges to hold some of the shelves straight while they dried. The last thing I did was make a mounting point for the guitar bridge I saved from earlier, then glued that in place. This was a last minute decision, but I really liked the look of it. And after letting all the glue dry, this project was finished. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It's really fun to repurpose things that would have otherwise been thrown away. You all know the drill. Hit the like button if you like this video and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest videos, and I'll see you on the next one.